Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome to today's tale in the ancient Irish tales. As we near the end of the Finn cycle, this one is one of the most famous out of the entire cycle. It's Oisin in the land of the youth, or Oisin in Tír Na Nóg. This is one of the most popular and one of the most well-known stories out of the Finn cycle. So sit back, hit the subscribe button, and enjoy a horn of mead, and enjoy. The story of the visit of Oisin, son of Finn, to the fairyland, the happy otherworld of the ancient Irish, belongs less definitely to the heroic tradition than the other Finn tales printed in this group. The central motif, of course, belongs to the oldest period, while the adventures of Conla the Fair, which is coming up. And, of course, Cormac's adventure in the Land of Promise, which, again, is another one that is coming up later in a different set of stories. This version dates from the 18th century, when it was written by the poet Michael Cullen. The dialogue, from which Patrick acts as integrator, shows the influence of the Quillicky of Old Men story, which again is coming up in the next one. And that one's the end story of the Finn cycle. The translation, which is very free, aims to reproduce the complicated system of alliteration and eternal rhyme used in Irish bardic poetry. The events of this story are supposed to have taken place just after the celebrated Battle of Gabra, in which Finn, his band of warriors, meet its, final defeat. But the introduction of the R.I.P. Rip Van Winkle motif carries the action through many years to a period long after the decline and, ruin of the celebrated fun. The story furnishes the explanation of the tradition that Oisin survived Finn and the rest of the Fan long enough to converse with St. Patrick. Again, it's around that time. Again, we don't know for sure how much influence this type of writing has changed from what it originally was. Even this was written down in the 18th century, which by that time Ireland would have been unfortunately conquered and taken over by the Christians. The fact that the return of Oisin is used as a basis for parts of the Quillicky of Old Men, which is the next story after this one, the last one in the Finn cycle. Let's get into it. Patrick. O noble Oisin, son of the king, whose deeds men sing this day in song, thy grief abet, and to us relate. But what strange fate thou hast lived so long? O Patrick, here's a tale for thee, thou sad for me to its memories old. 'Twas after Gabra, I mind me well, the field where fell my Oscar bold. One day the generous Finn, my sire, with olden fire led forth the chase. But our band was small, when gathered all, for the past recall were the hosts of our race. 'Twas summer morn, and the mist hung over, and wilding shore sweet Loch Lynn, where the fragrant trees perfumed the breeze, and birds air pleased with a joyous strain. We soon awoke in wondering deer that they forced by far fled far away. Keenly our hounds with strenuous bounds o'er moods and mounds pleasured their prey. When lo, in sight came a figure bright, in a blaze of light from west it rushed, a lady fair and radiance rare, whom a white steed bore to our bawn, now hushed. Amazed we halt through the hot in the chase, to gaze upon the face of the fair queen. A marvel to Finn and his fan band that never were land such beauty had seen. A golden crown on her brow she bore, a mantle she wore of silken sheen, all studded with stars in bright red gold. Amped each fold fell in herbage green. Her golden hair, all fair to view, in golden curls on her shoulders fell. Bright and pure were her eyes of blue, as drops of dew in the blue harebell. Where the fair her cheek they rose, from her bosom more white than swan so free, sweeter the breath of her balmy mouth, and to spice the south over the sea. Her milk-white steed was worth untold, no bridle of gold did the charger lack, the saddle all covered with purple and gold lay bright to behold on the steed's proud back. 4 shoes of gold his hoofs did guard, of gold unmarried by mixture base, of silver wreath on his crest was shown. Such steed was unknown on earth's fair face. To Finn's great presence drew the maid, thus bright arrayed, and softly spake. "O king of the fan host," she cried, "fair have I hired for sweet love's sake. Who thou art, pray, O princess rare, for far most fair, the face divine, grantly thy earnest make known. For what land thine own, what name is thine?" "Nan, the golden-haired I am named, O Finn fair-famed, of wisdom add truth. My praise harps rings, and bards e'er sings, and my sire's the king of the land of youth." "Then tell us, most lovely lady, now, why hast thou come overseas so far? Hast thou husband left thee to weep with grief most deep, thy mind to mar?" "No husband has left me, O Lord Finn. My heart within Erman did gain, till hero of Erin, thy famous son, its young love won for aye to reign." "On which of my gallant sons, O maid, is thou heart love so laid, so frankly free? Now hide not from us, O princess dear, the cause clear of thy visit to me." "His name, O Finn, then I'll declare, 'tis thy famed son so fair and brave, Oisin the warrior, Erin's barb, my fair reward for crossing the wave." "Then why hast thou hastened to give thy love, O maiden, above all maids most fair, to Oisin my own, beyond all unknown, of a princess high brought, rich and rare?" "Good, 'cause I ween for the course shall be seen, O king of the Fan, when I tell thee truth. Oisin's high deeds and noble name have won him fame in the land of youth. Full many prince in high decree hath offered me both heart and hand, but whoso appealed I never did yield, but my heart kept sealed for my hero grand. O Patrick, stern, how my soul did yearn, and with a thorough burn for the perilous maid. No shame to tell, each word was a spell that bound me well past mortal aid. I took her gentle hand in mine, and with every sign of love I said, "Welcome 100,000 times from the fairy clams, O royal maid. Of the woman, the rarest, fairest seen, thou art, O queen, without compare. My soul, my life, my chosen wife, star of my way, of ray most clear. Request refused by no true knight, whom knoweth aright the knightly vogue, I make thee now. 'Tis hence to speed with me on my steed to Tír Na Nóg. Delightful land beyond all dreams, beyond what seems the most fair. Rich fruits abound the bright year round, and the flowers are found of hues most rare. Unfailing there the honey and wine, the draughts divine, the mead be there. No ache nor ailing, night or day, death nor decay thou ne'er shalt see. The mirthful feast, the joyous play, and music's sway, all blessed begun. Silver untold and store of gold, undreamt by an old, shall be all thine. 100 swords of steel refined, 100 cloaks of kinds full rare, 100 steeds of proudest breed, 100 hounds thy mend when there. 100 coats of mail shall be thine, 100 kin shall sleekest skin, 100 sheep with fleece of gold, and gems none hold these shores within. 100 maidens young and fair, the birstone air shall tend on thee, of form most met, and fairies fleet, and a song most sweet and wild thrush free, and 100 knights in fights most bold, or of skilled untold old chivalry. Full armed be knight in mail of gold, shall in Tír Na Nóg thy comrades be. The chorus clamour for thee shall be made in the matchless blade of magic power, worth 100 blades in a hero's hands, most blessed and brands in battle's hour. The royal crown of the king of youth shall sign in sooth on thy brow most fair, all brilliant and being talked to, with gems of lustre bright, whose worth all right none might declare. All things I name thou shall enjoy, and none shall cloy to endless life. Beauty and strength and power thou'lt see, and I'll be thine own true wife. Refusal of mine thou knelt shalt hear, O maid without pair, of locks of gold, my chosen wife. For life I know I'll gladly go to Tír Na Nóg. Forthwith the steed I then bestowed before my road my royal queen, who said, O Oisin, with caution ride, till side, O divine sea, we've seen. Then uprose the steed on mighty bold, gave forth the surrounding starling noise, his name and shook, and then fairy look, and his riders took the sea unknown ways. Now, for when Finn and Fan host the steed to the coast was coursing so, they burst forth the chief's cry of grief, a wail of grief not brief nor low. O Oisin, cried Finn, a flattering voice, my son, most choice, must I lean lose? Will never the hope see thee again? My heart in twain will break the bruise. His noble features now clothed over, and tears did pour in showers free, till breast and beard in tears were drowned. My grief he ever found is made from the sea. O Patrick, I grieve to tell this tale, my words now fail to find their way. How the father did part from the son of his heart. My tears ever start when I think of the day. I drew up the steed for a moment's rest, and tenderly pressed my sire a kiss, then bade farewell to the fan band. Those the tears did not stain in my eyes, I wise. For many a day great Finn and I and our host all night in Coreore held glorious feast where the harps never ceased. The highest at least had the choice away. O full the race held royal chase. Well, at both the race of sweet-voiced hounds, anon in battle our javelins rattle, and men like cattle fall in heaps in the mounds. O vain old Oisin, dwell no more on the deeds of yore, and to Finn ranks, how didst thou go to Tír Na Nóg? Come, let me know, and I'll owe you much thanks. Oisin, we turned away, as I truly said, to our house and head, and gave the west, when lo, the deep sea opened before. Well behind us bore the billows that pressed, anon we saw our path strange sights, cities on heights and castles fair, palaces bright with lights and flowers. The brightest of bowers were gleaming there. And then we saw a yellow young fawn, leap over the lawn of the softest green, chased by graceful snow-white hound. That, with a ray-bound pressed most keen, we next behold, I tell thee true, a maid in view of one bright bay steed. An apple and gold her hand did she hold, o'er the waves most bold she hired with speed. And soon we saw another sight, a youthful knight who Will's white steed rode, a rider in purple and crimson arrayed, whilst the glittering blade in his hands he showed. Yon youthful pair, both knight and maid, pray tell, I said, who they be, the lady maid, as the summer's morn, the knight high-born, and the fair's so free. In all thy sight may light on here. O Oisin, dear, I say with truth, there's naught of beauty, naught of strength, till we reach the land of youth. And now we rode and came in sight of a place so bright, high-placed and strong, sharply its hall and lofty its wall, far beyond all e'er famed in song. What royal fort is yon, O Queen, that stands serene on yon side, whose towers and columns straightly spring, and the prism king doth there abide? In yonder fort a sad queen dwells, whom forces compels her life to mourn, whom former fierce and mighty blows doth thee enclose from friends' arms torn. But captive though to that private proud, yet she has vowed by taboos grave, never for life to be his wife, till one in strife against champion brave. I have a bird singing along with me doing the story. This is awesome. Blessings and blessed be thine, I cried, O maid bright-eyed, for thy welcome word. Thou grieve the woman such fate should meet. Music more sweet I've never have heard. For now we go to high place fort, and helpful soon the maid distressed. A champion's steel shall Formal feel, and neath my heel shall his neck be pressed. To Formal strong then we rode, and best of bold for a captive sweet. At once the queen with joyous mien came forth on the green and welcome met. In a robe of rich-hued silk and arrayed was this queenly maid, and for the hollow of snow her neck all fair could a swan's compare, her cheeks did wear with rose glue. The golden hue was her hair, 'tis true, of a heavenly blue, her bright eyes clear. Her lips were red as berries on braw, shapely each brow with rare compare, and the seat ourselves we then were told. In a chair of gold each one sat. Most royal fare was set forth there, in royal wear and great renown. Now when food had our fill, and wine we might fancy him, and thus spoke the queen, her face now pale. Now list my tale with ears all clean. From the first and the last she told her tale, her cheek all pale and wet with tears. How can the kin no more she see, whilst former free provoked her fears? Then weep no more, O fair young queen. Henceforth we so shall not mourn. The former shall pay with his life this day in mortal fray for the wrongs thus borne. Alas, no champion can be found on earth's great round. I fear me much could hand to hand such foe withstand, or free me from this tyrant's clutch. I tell thee truly, fair lady fair, I'll bold dare to the field, resolve to save thee, or in this strife ne'er wilt life dost last to yield. Ere cease my words in savage trim, the giant grim against us hews, and the skin's breast and clothes clad, whilst a club he had monstrous seized. No salutation from him came, but his eyes aflame gleamed all around. Forthwith he challenged me to fight, and with the dwelt took up my ground. For 3 full nights the elk 3 days of deadly frays and end seemed in doubt. Till at length his hand with my sword I sped o'er the plain, now red with blood poured out. Now when the 2 young maids beheld fierce Formal fled with my good sword, they gave the 3 shouts of joy and glee for the freedom now restored. Then when they returned for the giant's fort, where I faint and swoon, and I fell the faint from wounds and loss of bloods, that still in flood gushed like a well. But now the maid of former freed ran up with speed to help me fain. My wounds she washed and bathed with balm, and health and calm I found again. The giant grim we buried him, while deep down in the earth was the grave. We raised a stone, his grave to note, and his name we wrote in Augamclave. A merry feast we then did hold, and stories told of olden days, and when night fell we rested well. On couches such poets praise, where morning fair and sun discreet, from the slumber sweet we fresh awoke. Dear friend, to me the land now departs, as was my lovely princess spoke. We soon equipped us for our way, for longer stay was needed not. Sad, sorrowful, and leave we took, and sad the maiden's look, I wot. The further fate of that sweet maid, O Patrick Stride, I cannot tell. No word of her I've heard one say, e'er since the day we said farewell. We turned once more upon their course, and freely sped our horse along. No wind that sweeps the mountain drift was half so swift, or, half so strong. But now the sky began to lower. The wind in power increased full fast. Red lightning lights and mad sea waves, and madly raves the thunder past. A while we cowered nearest the storm, all nature's form in darkness dread, when lo, the wind's fierce course was run, and bright the suns appeared o'erhead. And now there spread before our sight the land most bright, most rich and fair, while hill and plain, and shady bower, and royal tower of splendor rare. And in this royal mansion fair, all colours were that e'er has seen, the blue most bright and purest white, while purple and yellow, and softest green. To left and right this palace bright rose many a hale and sunlit tower, all built of brilliant gems and stones, by hands one owns of wondrous power. What lovely land is that we see? Pray answer me with the way maiden's truth. It's penned in page that man may read, or is it indeed the land of youth? It is indeed the land of youth, and maiden's truth I ever told. No joy nor bliss I've promised thee, but thou shalt see this land doth hold. And now to thee rode from the king's abode, to meet us on the lawn of green, thrice 50 champions of might, in armour bright of noble mailin. And there came in house arrayed 100 maids in maiden voyage, in silken garments and bright and brave, who welcome gave to Tír Na Nóg. On next marched forth a chosen band of troops of that land, a lovely sight, a king at their head, and kingly trend, and of mighty name and fame in fight. A yellow shirt of silken weft, a cloak most deftly boarded over, on the king in folds hung freely down, whilst glittering crown upon his head he wore. And close behind him there was seen his youthful queen, a consort meet, and with 50 maidens in her train, who sang a strain so divinely sweet. Then spoke the king in kindly voice, O friends, rejoice, for here you see Oisin, the famous son of Finn, who spouse of our Nem shall be. He takes me warmly by the hand, and then we stand and speaks anew. Welcome, he cries, I give thee now 100,000 welcomes true. This kingdom, which oversees the lands thou sought, now stands revealed to thee. Long shalt thou live our race among, and e'er young as thou shalt see. No pleasure e'er that entered mind, but here and thou wilt out allow. And this is a land that bards are sing, and I am the king of the land. Here our gentle fair young queen, mother Nim and golden-haired, who crossed for thee the stormy sea, and thine be all the dangers dread. I thank the king with grateful heart. To the queen apart I bow me low. We tarried no longer without the walls, but entered the halls of Tír Na Nóg. There came the nobles of the land, and the great grand to sing our praise. And feast was held with all delight for 10 long nights and 10 long days. And then I was wedded to golden-haired Nam. And there I leave this tale were well. Thus I did go to Tír Na Nóg, though grief and woe 'tis now to tell. Patrick. Come, finish the charming tale thou'st told, O ocean of gold and whispers war. Why without outlandest ever return? I fain would like to know the causes are, and thou shalt wish thou abode. If thee I bred the children of bore, thou wouldst forlong the land of youth. I long, in truth, to list such lore. Ocean. I had by own name the golden hair, 3 children fair as e'er smiled, though sweetness gave us daily joys, 2 gallant boys and a maiden mild. Patrick. O sweet-voiced Oisin, thou must grieve where thou dost leave those children sweet. Tell me the names of thy offspring fair, and tell me where their mirthful meet. Oisin. Those children, the rich heirs, would be to kingdoms free and fair and great, to royal sceptre, crown of gold, and wealth untold no tongue could state. My gentle Nam on her boys bestow the names I owe most honor to. Finn the bright of the hosts of might, and Oscar who fought for the right and true. And my daughter fair did call by a name which out for names or shades, in birdie's virtue and sweetness power, the rightful dower, the flower of maids. Long lived I there, and it now appears, though short the years seemed ere to me, till a strong desire of my heart took hold, Finn and my friends of old to see. One day of the king I asked to leave, and of loving Nam who grave a while to visit dear Erin once again, my native plain, my native isle. I will not hinder thee, she cried, from crossing the tide for duty dear. Thou it bothers me ill with heart doth fill, which doubts thou chill and deadly fear. Why should thou this fear, O queen o' mine own? When the way shall be shown by magic steed, and the steed that bore us o'er the sea, and home to thee I'll safely speed. Remember then what now I say. If thou shouldest lay a foot to ground, there's no return for thee ere more, to this fair shore where home thou'st found. I tell thee truly, vain thy might, shouldest thou align thy white steed, for ne'er again shalt thou in truth see the land of youth, or hither speed. A third time now I thee implore, I beg thee sore to these seats to hold, or else at once the strength should go, and thou shalt grow bold, both blind and old. 'Tis woe to me, Oisin, to see how thou canst extend sold about the green of Erin changed for aye, for the past the day of the fan of bold. In Erin greens there's now not seen but the priests, full lean and troops of saints. Then, Oisin, hear my kiss to thee. Alas, may be my heart now faints. I gazed into her soft eyes, whilst the tears did rise in the well in my own. O Saint Severe, thou weepest a tear, to hear that dear wife's hopeless moan. By solemn vow I then was bound to Erin's ground near to descend, and if keep this vow I failed, no power veiled could befriend. I pledged to keep my solemn vow, and I did not adjourn to have been. I mounted then my magic steed, and said farewell to the king and queen, and kissed once more my golden-haired Nam. My heart doth grieve as I tell the tale. I kissed my sons and daughter young, whose heart were wrung and cheeks were pale. I turned my steed at last to the stand, and passed from the land of lasting youth Boldly my horse pursued its course, and the billow's force was not to south. O Patrick of orders pure, no lie for sure, I'd told but truth. Thus have I tired of my tale to weave, and thus did I leave the land of youth. If for good bread I could get my fill, as Finn at will gave to each guest, each day I prayed to the King of Grace that heaven might thee place to rest. Patrick, thou shalt of bread have quietly thy fill, and drink at will. O ancient bard, tell me thy pleasant tale, and ne'er can fail to win regard. Oisin, I need not tell each thing befell me and my spellborn steed each day. By length of green and Erin's isle we reached, and up the beach we bend our way. And when once more found my steed trod ground, I looked around on every side, anxious for tidings and small or great, of Finn and his state, once Erin's pride. Not long in doubt had I thus stayed, when a cavalcade came up the way, strange crowd, though I thought the woman of men, and past my kin their strange array. Right then gently they saluted me, but marvelled as much to me my size, they marvelled at my wondrous steed, for on such a breed there ne'er set eyes. I asked with fear, with my heart within, if the noble Finn were yet alive, or if the host that kept the coasts of Erin safe did yet survive. Of Finn, they said, we oft have heard, his name and fame are now worldwide. But full 300 years have passed since Finn and the last of the Fan died. Many a book and many a tale have the bards of Gael and the treat of Finn, and his strength of valor and wisdom bright, of his race and might and mighty kin. We also heard of Finn's great son, a youthful, of wondrous mien and mould, the lady that came hither from o'er the sea, and with her went he to Tír Na Nóg. Now, when those words fell on my ear, that Finn and his heroes were no more, my heart was chilled, my soul was filled with woe unwealed ne'er felt before. I stopped no longer upon my course, but swiftly my horse and urged onward few till Alnew's hill or Leinster's plain rose again before my view. What shock! I felt no one could report to see the court of Finn of steeds in ruin lone, all overgrown with nettles and thorns and rakest reeds. I found at last 'twas vain pursuit, a bootless, fruitless visit mine. Great Fan and Finn was dead, and the hosts he led, for this I sped them. But tell me my story all, though Almond's roofless howl, had I seen in swift to see the spots dear to me, where the Fan free and the Finn had been, and passed through the Thrensis glen, and the crowd of men in straits I see. Full thrice 5 score of happy more, and toil full score awaited me. Then forth there spoke a man, with herd and supplement voice addressed me. Come to our help, O champion brave, come quick to save us, distressed. I rose briskly to the crowd, and found them bowed beneath the weight of a flag of marble great and long, bore down the throng who mourned their fate. Now, all who tried to lift that stone did pant and groan, and piously till some crushing weight drove mad, and some felt dread most sad to see. Then cried a steward of that crowd, and said aloud, O haste! O hie! O gallant chief of our relief! Or else 'tis brief ere all shall die. A shameful thing it is to say, for each array of men these days, they're powerless of blood and bone, full easy that stone to rise. If Oscar, Oisin's valiant son, lay hold of the marble stone, with right hand he bore, hurl it into the air, fighting it fair will never have grown. Asked thus for help I did not lag, but neath the flag I placed one hand. Full practice 7 that stone I hurl, and I scared each curl in all that band, but scarce alas that stone had passed. With that fair cast, and the strain it broke while the steed's girth. I fell to the earth, doomed now to pain. No sooner had I touched the ground than with the bound of my steed took fright. Away, away to the west he rushed, whilst I stood there hushed in strange sight. At once I lost sight of my eyes. My youth's bloom died. Lean age began, and I was left of strength bereft, the helpless, hopeless, blind old man. O Patrick, now the tale thou hast each thing past. Indeed, in truth, my going away, my lengthened stay, and return from the land of youth.